Hello everyone, this is Ihsan, Chief Product Officer at OpenBB. In today's video, I will walk you through an exclusive preview of our Symphony integration. So now in the dev environment, I have Symphony Chat, as close chat. The way that we integrated Symphony into OpenBB, we are using the embedded mode. What this means is the following. Imagine that I'm a buy-side, sell-side analyst or portfolio manager. As I go through my workflow, now I have instant access to my prime broker, my internal teammates, and any chart, table, or a chat output from my Copilot, even this dashboard itself, I can share directly into Symphony. I start with a live view of my portfolio. So the data might be coming from some internal databases, some vendors, and we created a couple different widgets to visualize my exposures, price targets. So let's say that I have two mock portfolios that I'm plotting here. We just created a widget to visualize every single one of my holdings at returns at different horizons and so on. So let's say that I'm looking at portfolio one and I wanted to share my top holdings directly with someone. So notice here is that we have added a new skin, share widget data to Symphony Chat. And there you go. I'm just going to say that my holdings data, I want to share it with Didier and send. And there you go. So now he has access to this table. Next up, let's look at the research tab of my application. So here I have something called a multi-file widget. So what the multi-file widget does is that you can drag and drop PDFs one by one, but sometimes you might have access to a stack of PDFs. So I don't know which one of these reports are relevant for me to read to start with, right? So let's make this interesting. So what I'm going to do is that I actually edit my holdings of portfolio one into context. I actually would like to work with a different agent that is custom designed to summarize research PDFs quite well. So I'm going to add this stack of 3 PDFs, and I've already engineered my prompt. You can access your pre-engineered prompts through this light bulb. So here's my use case. I want to ask this agent to take a look at my top 10 holdings and tell me which of these reports seem most relevant for someone who invests in these stocks. So let's find the one that I should be reading. Then give me a personalized summary of that selected PDF. If any of my stocks are actually mentioned, I want to know about it. Otherwise, use some industry exposures to come up with a personalized summary. So it's streaming some output. Let's wait for the execution of the plan. Given the portfolio composition, the most relevant one is the technology investment report. So that's the one that I should be reading because these are the holdings that I have, and a good chunk of them are semiconductors. So this is the one that I should be focusing on. So now, what are the key takeaways for someone who invests in semiconductors? So there you go. Like it talks about the tariffs and impact of tariffs on semiconductors. It talks about tech layoffs. So now personalization, none of my stocks are specifically mentioned. I can make a widget out of this if I do create widget from artifact. But let's say that I don't care. I just want to share this output directly. I just want to talk about this part. And I want to hit Andrew. There you go. So now Andrew got my note. I can kind of see why consumer spending and technology might be relevant, but I'm a little intrigued by this biofuels report. So let's do an additional experiment. Extract Exhibit 1 is a data table. Because this chart is nice, I want to recreate it with my own AG grid color themes, and I want to share it with a colleague of mine. I actually just need the data behind this. Like I don't care for the pie chart itself. So I got the data. Let's just take this, create a widget out of it. So there you go. You know, Europe 31%, US 28%. And now let's make my own chart with it. So there you go. Cool, set up. I can do some customization here. And then let's hit Jose up. There you go. So now I'm going to go to Data tab. And in this case, I want to talk about this type of use case. So here, we have this a new type of widget called the Omni widget. What the Omni widget could do is essentially a workflow in a box. I have a different agent connected to this widget than the main one on the side channel. This agent has a model context protocol which gives it access to a certain data set that I can type some text. It would convert it into SQL, execute it against the database, and return the results to me. Like in this case, my data set contains some valuation metrics for semiconductor companies, which are relevant for me for my first portfolio. So let's just do a little experiment. I can just basically, instead of chatting on the main one, I can come and chat here. Just do a little experiment, like what's NVIDIA multiples. This is the query it sent, and it actually returned this data. Now I can make a widget out of this data. But what I wanted to show in this case is that you can also create more complicated workflows now that you have this workflow in a box type of widget available to you. For example, so suppose I, again, wanted to add my holdings into context, and then I'm going to add this widget into context instead of sending a query directly here. So my question was the following. So fetch my top 5 holdings, then get a specific valuation metric that this LLM has access under the hood, right? So I don't want to expose the entire data set. I just want to expose this LLM sending a query and get me the results based on the holdings that OpenBB Copilot is going to fetch. And then I want an output table as a result. So let's see what it does. Here are my top 5 holdings. Based on my top 5 holdings, I asked for sorted descending by price to earnings multiple. So I only managed to find these 3 in my database. I don't have data for everything. So now there you go. I can just add this as my new widget, and here we are. So now that I have this data, I can do all sorts of interesting things with it, but I have already quite a bit of analysis here. I had research summaries, I did some analysis of my portfolio, I created valuation multiples from a data set. So instead of sharing these things one by one, I want to conclude by sharing the entire dashboard. I can just do right click and share the Symphony chat. So now I'm actually sharing the entire dashboard with, let's say, with Didier. So no Didier, and let's send it. So now it actually has the link to this entire dashboard. For this to work, you also need to go here, and then I need to open the share settings, and I want to give access to Didier from the menu. So once he has the share rights for this dashboard, he can just basically click this link, and then he's going to be able to open and see the final version that I created.